Cool. Hey everybody. So today I'm with Adam here. He's a Czech Muslim, and we're just gonna talk about his experience. What was it like to be a Muslim here in this country? Because maybe you don't know, but this is one of the most atheistic countries in the world, in Central Europe. And he converted like 5 years ago or 4?
5 years ago.
Right. So you've been a Muslim for a while.
Yeah.
You're not really new Muslim like me. You're already like established, let's say. Yeah. So it's a different experience. But since I don't know many Czech Muslims and young, it's good to meet you. And so
Nice to meet you too, man.
yeah. And so maybe you can tell us before you became Muslim, like what led you to even consider this, and how old were you in that like time? Were you high school or what was this process?
Well, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Well, before I became Muslim, I have been basically atheist. I wasn't coming from like pure Christian background or something like that.
You're not baptized?
No, I'm not baptized. Like my grandmother is Christian, but not like in deep level. My grandfather, on the other hand, is an atheist, and so this kind of shaped my the time when I was young. You know, when how was I thinking about the world and such. So and also my grandparents were really like nostalgic about all the regime and such.
Communism?
Yeah, about the old communist regime. So, like, you know, they are nice people, but, you know, they have this like nostalgia towards the last regime. So it also shaped my understanding of the world at the time, when I was like 13, 14, etc. So I have been at the time basically, I was adhering to like communist ideology.
Oh yeah, you told me this. Yeah, you were communist before.
Yeah, before I became Muslim. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I know you don't hear that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't like really believe in God, but I was kind of like old pagans of Arabia. You know, when there is like this story in Quran where when they encounter the calamity, they would call out to the only God and seek help from Him. But then when God would give them safety and safely would return them to shore, they would still worship the idols. So that was the same thing with me. You know, I used to like turn to God in some like like basic sense influenced by Christianity. But then I would say like typical extremist atheist stuff that communists say, you know, that it's all like fairy tales, it's all like just for dumb people, the religions are just misunderstanding of nature, the world, etc. So
yeah, it's similar. I remember when I was atheist, I was flying once and there was tornado, and I was like, everybody was praying or scared that we're gonna die in tornado because like the lights went off the airplane, like it was like dark, it was like really like electricity was done, and it was like black, everything was black. I was like, we're dying. And then you're like, oh God, help me. Even though I'm atheist, I'm like calling to something, I don't know what, and it's like, and then I'm safe. And then I'm like forgetting about it and just like, okay, it's stupid. It was just like my programmed mind or something. It happened a lot, even as atheists.
Yeah, even the atheists have still the fitra feeling of the nature predisposition towards God. So it comes out even if they do not want it, you know. But still, they will then deny it, deny the God and such.
So you were like communist because you were trying to understand the world, and like you thought like through like, let's say you have capitalism and then you have communism and maybe you have like social capitalism, something like this, and so you have different means of production of goods and services, and you thought like this is what people need either this or this to increase their happiness.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is like the communist ideology
Like in
at the
this
time.
world, this material world
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
matters. right?
Exactly.
Both
yeah,
of them are the same.
I like-
Even atheist or this is the same, communist.
That's true.
Because both
I
are
mean,
immaterial.
That's true. I mean, you know, the atheism is undoubtedly deeply rooted in communism. So, what I thought, when I studied about communism, I thought it made sense, at least in like European area, the European region and America and such, that there is this social inequality, and I thought that it makes sense that there needs to be radical transformation of the society, and I basically thought that when the people will have like enough of material goods that they will in some shape or form own, that they will have some kind of
They will not
control
be
over
like
it.
slaves, like of the system, but like everybody will have piece of ownership.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, so that's what I thought.
Nice
that
idea.
is, I mean, yeah, the Marx, Engels, and such. They had a point in the fact that the capitalist society is faulty, that it doesn't work. That there were like brutal exploitation of like poorest working class at the time. So they are definitely correct in understanding of that. However, they falsely predicted how it will.
They
end.
thought it's gonna collapse on itself.
Yeah,
at
they
some
thought
point.
that the workers that it inevitably had to fall by the sheer.
If it
by
was
the
like
sheer-
uncontrolled, maybe, but then there was like regulations, new laws, and then we had like
exactly.
basic stuff. So
yeah,
they didn't know.
the society developed like basic social rights, thanks to like moderate forms of left-wing ideologies like social democracy and such, and also the production ownership of the Europe to the colonies and such. So that's where they failed. So the new generation of Marxists try to reinterpret the reality. This way, people like Lenin and such. That's why you have like this paradox of communism, that communism says that a revolution that will overthrow capitalism and establish the communist society that will forever end exploitation and such, that it will be led by workers, by the industrial workers. However, in Russia it was led by peasants, and mainly the revolution was led by peasants. Of course, the communists will make a way around it. They will say that of course it had to happen like that, etc., etc. But they will say that it's still this is the framework of communism, even though it's not, basically. And they also say that the establishment of this classless society where everybody will have where there will be a common ownership of the means of production and end of exploitation. And the Lenin said that it's not possible to do it right away. And the Marx said it's necessary to be it like this. So they have to develop new things like the whole government. Marx said that government will have to fall inevitably because it's like tool of oppression.
And then it created the most strongest government,
That's
communist.
true. The government that will try to control everything in their state, and that's why it fell. It fell. Actually.
Yeah. I had like the complete opposite. Like when I was in high school, I read Adam Smith, and I was like
Really?
very, very, what's that? Free market capitalist, like super capitalistic. I wouldn't even consider like no social welfare was needed. Everything could be resolved through market. Only like
Really?
market could, without, if you don't engage through government into market, it will sort itself out without interventions, because it's like this. So this is what I thought, and I read a lot of books, and I was like, yeah, this is really cool. And then like you look at the history of capitalism, where like you look at like, at some point, free market is good because it creates new products or new opportunities that in communism you don't have this innovation. But then it kind of goes, if it goes too big, it creates monopolies, which then prohibit other people from competing. And they, like Amazon, they just take off, and you can never catch them. In million years you can never catch to Amazon, even if you did whatever. So it creates these big problems in society, this big like in the US, it's a big problem with homelessness and then people on the top, right?
That's true.
So, but I think both of these things claim one thing, like this free market will lead to human happiness through more products and services. You can consume more, so therefore you'll be happy. And communism says like, no, you'll have like, you won't be slave to other people, but you'll have products and services owned by yourself, and you can like build a community and have like a sense of whatever. And they both forgot that this is not what human happiness. There's studies proving that, like just the book you gave me, Islam Between West and East. He says that in one paragraph yesterday I read that if you, let's say, there are these old Indian tribes or old tribes in Native Americans who used to collect the gifts from each other and increase their wealth, and then they would destroy it on purpose. So like, why would they do that? This can be found in Mexico and all over the world. People like collecting things and then destroying them, and this is not what animals do. And it's like something that people try to manifest about the world, but they don't know what. And this is like very interesting, you know. And even if people have everything, they still are not. Sometimes they commit suicide or they have these problems.
That's true.
So we like see like, okay, well, does this lead to happiness? Even this thing or this thing, like, is this the point? Like, is there happiness somewhere else maybe that we just don't see it, right? I don't know, like, if people can see it like this. Like, to me it's clear now, but like if I, like 2 years before, no, it wasn't that clear.
It was the same with me. Before I thought that the happiness is attained by the material things. That the only way to really provide these material things to people is through establishment of like socialist state according to communist ideology and such. So,
it's messed up that everybody like thinks like this. Many people, let's say maybe,
to be honest,
even Christians.
To be honest, it's because of like failure of Christianity during 19th century, because of
even before, like the split of the church when they were buying the sins,
of course, so but like, I mean, I think the thing that really influenced this for the most was the scientific revolution. That the Christianity wasn't able to answer to. And thus it was seen by people as useless. Useless. Like, you know, the Darwin's theory of evolution came out, and people were like totally believing in it, and church couldn't argue with that. They would just say, you know, that they would just stick to the old theories, like that the Earth is old, 6,000 years. 6,000 years old, etc.
Or they would like prosecute people and burn witches and all this. They didn't have like the truth. I mean, they didn't have the truth, but they had peace of it.
But they didn't have the truth, and then they tried to really like delve deeper and deeper into what they thought is truth, but what proves false. You know, that's why they made like all these theories that the dinosaurs lived with people at the one time, and scientists claimed the specific day when the Earth was created. While Islam doesn't do that. Islam doesn't do that. Islam just says, okay, the Earth was created by the Creator, by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and that there was this. You have like many stories in Quran that are not necessarily specific. They have some specific things that are paradox, that are surprisingly, I mean, it's not surprise, but they prove actually the historical research about the given topics and such. So, but it doesn't, you know.
The only issue I had with evolution, like I couldn't understand evolution when people will bring up like, hey, there's evolution, like Darwinism and natural selection, therefore you're wrong. And it's like, well, no, like, okay, the small evolution from species to species, like in small scale, yes, it's we can see this is like bear is brown and then it's polar bear, like there's clearly evolution there. But to conclude that, okay, 100,000 years ago there was like a man, Homo sapiens, and in 1 second he got consciousness and he was able to produce music and like art. This is like what this shift is. What happened there?
That's true.
You know, like you can't just say like from nothing. You can't get from nothing like consciousness. Like people can't even produce now consciousness. So how can you get it from evolution, from nothing? like doesn't make sense. Or these jumps in like biology, you know, or going from chemistry, you have a chemical soup, and then suddenly you have the first cell. Like what? Like how can you change chemistry to biology? You know, like just basic. This is not difficult to understand. You don't have to be a biologist. But I agree with like the premise of evolution, but it doesn't negate the need for like the you know, some higher power at the end of the day. And the big jumps are not. The natural selection cannot justify everything, basically.
That's true.
And that's what atheists always like say, like natural selection explains everything. Like, okay, why is natural selection? Why don't I have 7 fingers and you have 5? Why we all have 5 fingers?
True.
You know,
true. Why we have like 2 eyes?
Because it's supposed to be random. So I should have 2 heads. You know, why is it perfect? Like for everything, like you can do everything. You know, so it's not random. Something is driving this selection. What is it? Tell me, because you can't see it. So
of course. But they would still deny, you know, any existence of higher power.
I don't know why. I mean, it's because they're scared that, you know, there's implications. Like, okay, now I have to live by something. It's scary. You know?
That's true. Because they you know, they have still this understanding of God through Christianity. You know, that
all the time.
They couldn't really cope with scientific research, and when they would really encounter our perspective of.
Okay, so we were talking about like the concept of God in Christianity is different. And yes, this is true. Like people tell me like, I don't believe in man in the sky controlling everything. Like I don't do as well. Like this is stupid. But if you like just Tawhid, if you just not study but just look at the basics of Tawhid, how can you? It's even better than your definition of God. Like it's even better. Like I never thought of. I thought God might be something like what's in Tawhid, but it's even better. Like so, like okay, is this the definition of God? Like if you look at all the other religions, they don't have this definition. Like this is perfect. Like how can this be? Like you know, just Tawhid is like basics. You know, if you have that. So it's pretty crazy. And so, but back to your story, like you were like a communist or something like this. And then, so what happened?
What
happened that you were interested in Islam? Because you don't have a wife. I mean, you have a wife, but you don't have somebody who converted you like this. You just came across something. Right?
Funnily enough, I mean, I will come to that. But you know, my first encounter with Islam, like in its like real form, you know. Before I started to study Islam, I had like some basic notion of Islam, like you know, I don't know, Arabs, you know, Kaaba, Allah, but I didn't really have any understanding of what these terms are, what is the significance of them, and such. Then came one friend of mine back then who was also communist and atheist, who is kind of, you know, interested in many different things, weird things from all around the world. He listened to all kinds of
conspiracy guy.
No, not kind of, no, not like that. But he was like, you know, searching for like weird music from Kurdistan, for example, from Arabic countries, like from Chechnya and such. So he was finding all these like things that normal people wouldn't really look after, and especially music, and he would listen to it. And he sent me one day like the music called Nasheed, which is like Islamic vocals, you know. So I started to listen to it, and I was like, I don't want to listen to something religious, you know, Islam, and it's not. So I had this notion that, you know, Islam is like oppressive towards women and such, and backwards. But then I started to listen to it more, to this music, because I really enjoyed it, and it was like, you know, about sacrificing his dunya for the akhirah, for the next life, and about Allah, about jihad. And so I started to really like look into these terms, like what's God for Muslims, what's God in Islam, what's the jihad. It's so many times used in media and such. That was in 2013, you know, when the extremists from ISIS began to rise in Iraq and Syria, and when there is this so-called immigration crisis, and like of course it wasn't here in our country, but people would still talk about it like if we were overwhelmed by mass immigration or something, you know, in the that,
The Japanese guy, right?
Yeah,
No, Vietnam.
not only him, like real OGs would remember. Like there was this guy called Komichka from organization called We Don't Want Islam in Czech Republic.
Really?
So that these people like would warn us against Islam.
We have Kotleba in Slovakia, the Nazis guy.
the fascist. Yes.
So he would put billboards on like "Protect Slovakia because of God,"
Yeah,
and there was
yeah,
like a double cross. Like what?
Yeah,
And
it's like I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, these are at another level.
There's
These are
1,000
really crazy, like,
Muslims in Slovakia, combining everyone, even me.
but the people would still find anything to gain the votes and such. So.
Yeah.
And same it was here. Like we get like 10,000 Muslims perhaps in this country, 20,000 per 10 million people. So but people would say still that Islamization begins with
Kebab.
With kebab. Yes.
This is what our prime minister,
Yeah.
the chief of like our parliament said. Like it begins with kebab in Bratislava, and then there's a mosque.
From Slovak National
kebab.
Party, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Crazy stuff.
I mean, these people they didn't know how to get to politics, so they use this.
He's already gone. He's not even there.
For example, the Okamura, from SPD started.
He's
as
my favorite.
He basically started as a left centrist party. Basically, he wanted like to establish like direct democracy. It's called
Like
Party of
Switzerland.
Direct Democracy. Strana přímé demokracie. But then he made a shift in like 2015, 16 or something like that, where he started to promote like Islamophobia, like radically, like there is that Islam is threat to our society, blah blah blah, and that's how he gained popularity.
Yeah. Crazy.
So it's like and also he and his wife would visit like Islamic countries. His wife would wear hijab. But then, because he wanted to get votes and get the profit of being in parliament, he started this topic because it was really popular among people at that time.
So you listened to Nasheed, then you
started to
researching, and
yes.
then how long did this take, this process of
Oh
researching?
man, I think perhaps almost 3 years, I guess.
Why did it take so long? Because for me it was 1 year, but then it was like, for I would say 5 months, I completely forgot about it. Not forgot, but I was like, no, I can't. It's too much. This is like gonna change everything. I'm gonna just be ignorant. And then I couldn't be, because it will catch up with you, right? Like,
true. That's true.
You can ignore it, but if the truth comes to you, like, what else am I gonna find? What else? I can research forever. Like, it's always gonna come to this thing.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I was looking into these things as my kind of hobby or in my free time. But at the same time I was in high school, and I was having really bad grades, so I had to really focus on that, and being at the time like 8 hours in school, then coming home and keep studying.
It must be difficult. I mean, that's like, you were 18 or?
I mean, I was like 15, 16 and such, and we've got really long study days.
Oh, really?
Towards the
You're like,
so I mean, in like 2 last years or 3 or 4 last years of like high school. I mean, I mean in high school we go for 8 years. So gymnasium. 8-year gymnasium.
But you were twice as smarter as me, because I became Muslim at 29. You already at 15. I was at 15. Not even.
I mean, I started to study at 15.
Yeah, but still, you were like 16, 10 years before me. But so it's good.
I mean, but I started studying from basically like anything I could find on the first glance, from Wikipedia. I don't know, like a good source. But then I started to discover like Islamic channels on YouTube. Like
there's many.
All these popular speakers.
Who's your favorite? I like Mohammed Hoblos. Do you know him?
I know him.
He's Australian.
I know him. Yeah. He's got the One Path network.
Yes.
Yeah. I like him. And his channel. They're doing really great job.
Did you see what they did in Ramadan this month? Like like the charity video. He was collecting money,
Yeah.
and he was like $50,000, $70,000. He was like asking for this, and he got like $1 million in like few minutes.
Mashallah. I didn't see that
It's
one,
pretty
but
crazy. And he was like,
it's
whoever gives 10,000, I'll give 1,000. Everybody was like 10,000. He was like 1,000, and it was like 1,000 more. And he was like pretty. It was getting like what?
Mashallah.
It's
It's
pretty
cool.
crazy.
It's
Yeah.
cool. I didn't
So
know
much
that, but yeah, he
And they build a
make
mosque. Yeah.
yeah, mashallah. So they make a lot of good videos.
Yeah.
For example, the thing where they made like video about iftar around the world.
Yes.
Different Muslim countries. That was really interesting. From Palestine to the East Turkestan, and it was really cool to see. Also, the last Ramadan, I think this last Ramadan, they got a series called Revive Ramadan, and they would remind of all the different sunnah that they are in the Ramadan also, and also for different like innovations like Ramadan or superstitions. So that was really these were really cool videos.
So you were watching the videos and studying for 3 years, right?
Yeah. I mean, not like intensively,
Not every time.
but when I could, I would study this, and I try to as well. I tried to like prove that what's happening in Syria and in Iraq, what ISIS did, wasn't Islam. I wanted to study if what ISIS does is really Islam, and I found out that it's really not. It's that ISIS were extremists that were denounced by the rest of the Islamic world, by the scholars and such. However, that's not really, that wasn't really never shown in our media or in Western media in general. That you got like you got scholars, high scholars denouncing these extremists.
And it's just pretty crazy to learn about these, like, let's even take like Hamas, or let's look at these Taliban or these groups, and let's like look at like the reasons. Like I never could understand like why is there so much Muslim terrorists in the world, but like look at the colonial past and look at what these countries have been going through, and the recent wars in 10 years ago, what happened. So like, of course, if there's vacuum of power, so you remove the dictator, let's say you remove Saddam Hussein, or whoever was in Libya, Gaddafi, so then of course, if you remove the main dictator, he was not good, obviously. But if you remove him and you don't put anyone in charge, these groups will form. And it's even in Quran written, like some people will use this to do harm to this word. They will take verses out of context and use for fatwas.
It is true. That's what happened from like.
I think there's a special name for these extremists in Quran. There's a special name in Arabic. I don't know what. Yesterday I was looking it up. This the first thing, like when I came home, like a few weeks ago, and I told like my family was there, and they all know I'm Muslim now, and all the questions were about terrorism.
Really?
All of them. Nothing about Allah, nothing about nothing. Just terrorism and radicalism. So you have to be prepared if you're from this part of the Europe to know this thing.
That is true. That is definitely true.
Because like they ask you like, so why they do it? And now I have to explain the entire
past, the entire story.
This is pretty difficult.
Of Middle East.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true, but that's unfortunately the fact, that these things are complicated. It's not like the Western mind wants to understand these things or understands these things. Western mind is based first compromise of seeing the world like that you get like white and black side. Like you get like positive and negative side, and that there is a good and evil. I mean, of course, there's a good and evil, but not all things are really like so straight. And also the fact that lots of things are really complicated. That you can't just simply say, okay, this is good, this is bad. I mean, Islam really has this unique attitude towards everything in the world. It really sees the world in its complexity, and also that's one of the things that really made me understand that this is the Quran is word of God, and that Islam is really the only religion that leads to God. So,
also, like Sharia can be flexible to implement in different countries. Like when it was spread in Uzbekistan, there was I think some mentions about tribe. The blood money, when you have to, let's say you kill someone, then the other tribe can ask the other tribe for blood money. But when they came to Uzbekistan, they were like, we don't have any tribes here. What is this? So then they could change it and say like, okay, now it's just a relative. Like it's not the tribe because there are no tribes in Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
So it's like you can look at the culture and put it to their people. You know, like each country is a bit different. You know, it's not like one size fits all.
That's true. Of course, there are like terms and realities in Arabic culture of the 7th century that are not present in other parts of the world. That's true. And of course, Islamic governments and Islamic the schools of Islamic law had to deal with such new realities, but they succeeded in that because, as you said, you know, Islam is not like I mean, it's strict in some sense, but it's not that strict that it's that's one of the beauties of Islam as
it can be practiced anywhere if they don't like.
It's true. That's true.
Forbid you from something, but the biggest like history lesson for me was to learn like, okay, we look at society now through assumption that there's a state, like there's a country. But this is not true. In the past, there was like Vikings never had a country, or like these people, they had like a territory, some occupied something. But it wasn't like this is the country and like there's a modern state. We have let's say these powers set up, and until 1648 Westphal, I think, peace, where in Europe, in Switzerland, they said like, okay, now we have a modern state in Europe, and we will colonize everybody to become like let's say part of some state. Like in Nigeria, they created Nigeria, but there's like 600 tribes there that have nothing in common, and even language is different, and they don't Nigerian. Like I have a friend in Nigeria, and he told me like I have nothing in common with people in like northern Nigeria.
That's especially a problem with Africa, with East Asia, and where the Western colonizers just came.
Because they took the framework from Europe, like this will work everywhere.
He basically just drew the lines just to manage his empire, and then when his empire started to crumble, he purposefully established the new states along these borders, you know, just to create more chaos after himself, you know, the scorched earth tactic, you know, basically.
And like you have a power like from top, so like the policeman can come and like you can get a ticket, and it's like it's not oppressive, but it's like there's power structure clear.
Yes.
And like I don't think right now there's like a pure 100% Islamic country. I mean there are some still, but like back in the days, Islam, like we have to look at it as a completely new system, not just like a religion, but a new system for everything in terms of just like judiciary system and politics, because the value of modern citizen is done by the state, but there the value was based on your faith. So all these laws of apostasy and all these have a context of like based on like if you are living in Islamic society where we all opt in to this country based on the faith, not on the police state or something modern pressure, but like we all agree we're Muslims, so we're creating this civilization, and you opt out of it, not like here in Czech Republic, but like 500 years ago, you would leave the society based on Islam, everything basically, the entire laws and everything is based on Sharia. Then it's a completely different thing, because you're looking at society individually, kind of, where everybody has like a responsibility, it's like a faith thing, and it's everything coming from Allah. And here it's everything comes from like this artificial modern state, and it's not nice. It's not good, you know. And there it's completely opposite. You have to be a Muslim to participate in this Islamic sort of standard. And it's like interesting to just learn like, oh my God, it's completely different set of values, and like of course they view things differently. Like you can take things in Islam which were like based for Islamic countries, and now say it in like modern Europe, and like what is this like? It doesn't apply, you know.
Of course, it really depends. You know, not all these things may necessarily apply in Europe, but some of them still might. You know, it really. Then that's of course discussion for like interpreters of Sharia, like which things would apply in hypothetically Islamic Europe, for example.
Yeah, I mean in Bosnia there's some Sharia, but also it was removed, and also in Turkey it's the end.
I mean, really,
Raja Saturk.
that really depends, you know, because of course Bosnia was led by like one of the biggest Islamic thinkers of the 20th century, like Alija Izetbegović. So,
But mostly family Sharia, like family relationship,
that's true.
but not like.
Yeah, it's still, you know, the Bosnia had to still cope with the fact with like the civil war, then with the peace that had to be established in such a way that, you know, would appease like its minorities that were supported by authoritarian regime in Croatia and Serbia, and also to all that, you know, the Western powers that wanted.
Plus Orthodox Christian Church, Catholic Church, both of them there as well.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and the tension is even still there today, you know. Especially between like Serbs in Bosnia and the rest of the country.
Yeah.
So,
I had a question.
Sure.
I forgot. So you were studying. So what led you? When did you say like, okay, now I'm becoming Muslim?
Yeah.
Did you have an experience or what?
I mean, you know, the more and more I studied about Islam, my notion of religion started to shut it down, because I saw religions as all the same, you know, as something that oppresses people, something that leads them to like unconsciousness, you know, to say that.
To like blind faith.
Blind faith, yes, and that a religion cannot, all the religions cannot, like, that they are full of superstitions and such, and that they are made by men. But Islam is completely different. I mean, the very fact that Quran was sent down to illiterate prophet, peace be upon him, you know, that he couldn't write it himself. You know, there isn't any like possibility of that. There isn't any proof that he could write such a great book. You know,
he was illiterate. He didn't know how to write.
That's true, and how to write and read. You know, so.
But my grandma said like, that's not true. All the books were written by men. And I was like, well, Bible maybe, but like, who wrote the Quran?
Yeah.
And so what made you say like Shahada or consider saying it?
The very fact that, you know, the Islam just didn't fit to my understanding of religion, as communism told me, as atheism told me, and that just it's something completely unique. You know, it's not something from Arabs, made for Arabs, or something like that. That it's proved not to be made by man. You know.
But people say like, oh, it's in Arabic. You have to.
Yeah, but you know, it's just the word of God that God wanted to send it in this word. But you know, there's no problem in like translating it to other people, explaining it to other people, and you know, explaining it. And to be frankly, not many Arabs like would understand like Quranic Arabic, you know. So
they don't.
It's like really.
I think that's also the problem here. Like, if you want to learn about Islam, you're like, why is it not like Catholicism, where every country takes it and translates it and like makes their own thing, right?
Yeah.
But you have to like say the same thing everywhere. Like Al-Fatiha is the same.
That's what unites us, you know.
So, but you don't see it like on the first. Like, why is it like this?
That's also what prevents like corruption, you know,
Exactly.
that we see in Christianity. That had like Bible in Aramaic and Hebrew, then in Greek, and then translated all in all the different things to native languages, and what came out of it, you know, dozens different concepts of Trinity and dozens different.
Well, it's not really in Bible, but it's after the Council of Nicaea.
I mean, I mean, but you know, the fact that the Christians in the 4th century had to learn the language in Greek that was translated that was translated Aramaic and such, that created the whole differences and confusion.
So you saw Quran is like the word of
Yes.
God, and then but you knew that maybe even before. So what, like, why did you say like now? Okay.
Well, I started to really turn to God, like, for help.
Did you pray already?
I
before?
used to pray, and because the notion of like God's power that was in Islam, that made me like hopeful for like better future and such. So that whatever happens, good or bad, Allah still is like on the side of believers, and that with every hardship, with every hardship comes ease. That's still one of my favorite verses and my favorite surah, Ashar, like expanded, blessed, and so that really made me feel like we are not completely, we are powerless without Allah, but we still have promises
you still
from
have
Allah.
free will as well.
And we still have promises from Allah that Allah is near to us. Allah is will come to our aid, and basically the Islam wakes in humanity its best, while other religions really try to diminish it, like Christianity, with the whole concept of like eternal sin, the sin that is there according to them from Adam alayhi salam, and such. And Islam doesn't do that. Islam does not really punish man. It doesn't really make him inferior. Like, so yes.
So you were already practicing something before, like you already started praying, or maybe you stopped drinking or something.
And then I thought like, okay, I agree with Islam.
You were practicing already, doing, trying to practicing, and then you realize you're already kind of a Muslim already.
That's true. I did it as to seek help from God, and but I thought, what is this? It's not like, of course, God hears our prayers. God hears always our prayers, but wouldn't it be kind of selfish for me to ask God, through Islamic ways, like through salah, through dhikr and such. Like, shouldn't I just do it? Shouldn't I out of thankfulness to Allah, not only for His blessings during like that time, but also because of the fact that He created all of the world, created us, gave us life, and so I thought, okay, I have to do it. I started to took my shahada and started to become a Muslim, even though I didn't know like everything about like basic principle of Islam. I had the basic notion. I had like basic understanding of Tawheed, of Salah, and such. But I started to study and more, and
it's good.
So
that's
what made me like really just. I felt in Islam. I felt like that indeed God is all powerful, and that is always like something better in store for us, even though there are like hardships, with that always comes ease, and the very explanation of the word just made sense in as Islam puts it, And of course, the communists would say to me, "Oh, it's because you started to talk with like Muslims." I started to.
They brainwash.
Because they think in a way that every decision the man makes is because of his surroundings. They would even say to me that, it would make more sense if you would accept Christianity because it's like native to this land, and such. But the very fact that I corrected, I think this proves their theory that the actions of man are purely determined by his surroundings. And they would just say, okay. I started at the time to talk with like another Czech convert, like who became a Muslim, and he was former communist as well. But they would say, he puts things in your mind. You are with him all the time, and I swear by God, I wasn't with him all the time. I just asked a few things, met with him a few times, And I felt also that was a great like experience for me, because I saw like a Muslim who really practices, who was a Czech as me, and who was like good guy with good morals, who's really like fine man, you know. Like, so these are all the things that made me like to take Shahada and later to leave the evil communist ideology altogether. Because I just at the beginning I thought maybe I can cope to do together, because I was still feel like okay, fighting for like justice of like the socially oppressed people and such. But I found out that if I were really Muslim and supporting communists, that they would get to power. They would just annihilate me. They would put me like in a better case to prison. In worst case, they would just shoot me or something like that. And I thought that Islam is and with like 1 year after I took Shahada, I started to really see Islam as not only the spirituality, like the connection to God and explanation of the universe and such, but also as the solution to problems of our problems in this world, like with regards to society, how the society should be structured, how we should live our daily lives and such.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. Just today I saw a Facebook post from my friend who said like she got like catcalled by a man in the street. She's like, hey, and she's like, what's wrong with men? Why do they do that? It's like, imagine if she wore a hijab, she would never get catcalled. She would never experience harassment.
That's true.
Because you don't harass those.
Of course, that's the one side of that, but also the fact that Islam teaches men to be like well mannered, like not to even look
like lower your gaze
with the lust towards men, towards women. So
I agree. I mean,
they would say about Islam that it's like conservative, it's like made for men and such, but Islam is above all these man-made perceptions. Islam is neither liberal, neither conservative. Islam is neither left wing or right wing. It's neither capitalist or socialist. It combines. You can see everything from these Western conceptions in it, but it's not like it comes from God, and God knows best what's best for us.
And it's like the best thing that for me, like I can't even be negative as a Muslim, like it's not possible. Like before that I used to be very angry or negative or like sad or like depressed, and now I can't even be that, because like you have 5 salats per day, so you always like whatever you pray and it goes away, or like you appreciate everything more, because before you didn't appreciate nothing, because you thought like, I own everything, this is me. And then you realize like nothing is you're nothing, but then you appreciate everything, even bad is good, right? So that's why
if I didn't if I didn't accept Islam in my heart, and I would still be like atheist and communist, then I would probably make a suicide, because that nothing.
It's a bad
and also the thing that communism really makes you feel inferior. You are the tiny member of the masses. Even though my organization must like do this and do that because we need you, because we are we are like only 50 people in our organization. We still need you, but in the grand scale, they would just say, it's like one part of the like big machine. That's all, So.
But that's also capitalism. Like you just, after some time, I used to, 5 years I had company, and after some time, when I finally, after 3 years of losing money and being like very in debt and stuff, I started making money and like good money. I became even more depressed. It was like not what I thought it's gonna be, now, even like, let's say before I would like. I could, for 6 months I didn't even pay myself salary, so I was just living off nothing. I didn't have anything. And now, like before, even like if I get 20,000 euros in 1 month, like 500,000 crowns, I have no feeling about it. It's pretty crazy. And now I know it's all from Allah, and I know it's not me. And as soon as I started praying, and like before accepting Islam, and just trying to get there, I saw like everything. I stopped watching porn, stopped drinking, stopped all these things, and like I got married like a few days ago. Right, everything like within a few months just like went like this, So it's not me who's doing this; it's something else.
Everything's comes from Allah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, for me, it was like same like you. Like I just realized like, okay, I sort of agree with this everything that it says here. Like, I don't have any problem. I have questions still, but I don't think I have problems with the main things like Tawheed, 5 pillars, Ramadan. I don't see any problem there. I think it makes sense. If you think deeply about these things, they all come to truth. Like,
That's true.
how if you just superficially look at something, maybe it doesn't look. But if you study it, it makes sense. So I was like, yeah, why am I'm already like you doing these things, so why do I not just make it official, you know? So you were there, you saw my shahada, so that's pretty good, and yeah, it was great.
It's really nice to have you in our ranks, man.
Yeah,
it's a blessing to us.
No, it's good to have you and everybody. You know, I'm not, you know, I don't think I'm good, but I'm not bad, hopefully.
Yeah, but but still have like another like Czech convert, you know, here
Slovak,
it's Slovak.
But it's the same. It's the same, man. I mean, in Slovakia, I don't even know if there are any. I mean, there's some, definitely.
Yeah. There are some, but you know.
Yeah, but
so it's really cool to have like another guy from this culture that who saw the truth through the veil of ignorance, through the veil of atheism.
And most people that I know, like you, or people who are here, Muslims, they are like very smart people. Like, not like you know, some religions where, you know, you're like looking for the truth and you're like, you find these weird people or something there. It's like Muslims are very like educated, smart. They are successful. The guys from the mosque, I know a lot of them own businesses. It's like these are normal like people, and they have like they're pretty smart. It's like very intellectual. I think Islam is very good, but also you must have like these experiences that are outside of intellectual. You can't just learn about it.
True.
You practice and then you see like the results, or you see emotions, and then you have these like maybe moments in your life where you see like, okay, this is what it is. So yeah, it's good. So how's it? Do you regret it ever, or do you never?
Taking shahada?
Yeah, like after 5 years, like what do you? Maybe you got married, right? You see these things now. You have better view of the world after 5 years, like practicing Islam. What do you think now? Like, not just like if you regret it, probably not, but like, what do you think now in like this context of Czech or Europe? What do you think like Islam is heading, or like what's the future here? And you know, just like what do you think about people everywhere? Just like sometimes you see someone doing shahada, but not many. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think the negative perception towards Islam, like Europe and here, like slowly increases. I think. It's not like a big jump like was in 2011, 2013 and such.
Yeah.
But you know, there will still be this like, you know, either it will be like against Islam as on its own, or against religion together. Especially here in this country, you know, where even like Christians are mocked. So it's really unbelievable in this sense. But at the same time, I still have hope. Like since you know many people are there, also there not many people, but there are still people that come to Islam and that really come to right understanding. You know, for every guy who comes to Islam and then becomes misguided, there's like 5 people who will become like rightly guided, you know, upon the path of the Sunnah of the Prophet. Because we got, for example, like there are like converts, few of them who really just went astray in Islam, you know, being like Sufis and such. But it's like I know about like 2 of them, and the ratio of other people who are really upon the path of like this like really middle path in Islam, you know, aside of all extremes, there are many of them, alhamdulillah. You know. So, and even though there is lots of like ignorance in the ranks of the Muslims around the world, there are still many who are thinking about religion, who are studying their religion, and who are really trying to understand it and understand Islam and live Islam as best as they could.
I think many people have this because like the history of Islam is not ideal as well. Muslims do not represent Islam the best sometimes. You know, like
That's
Islam
true.
is great, but people don't like live like they should be living in, even
That's
if
true.
they claim they be Muslims.
That's
so this
true,
is the
of
problem.
course.
People have these problems, and then you know, yeah. So that's one thing, and otherwise, yeah, I wanted to mention like all the people, even though they are atheists or something, they all have problems. They all need like meaning in life, and they can't find it. So I think Islam has a solution. It's practical
That's true.
even for this century,
That's true.
and you can do whatever. You can live your life with Islam, and it will solve your problems for sure.
That's true.
And most people are seeking Islam without knowing it. Actually, like most people are depressed or they have these tendencies to drink or something, but they don't put time to look it up. Like, what am I
Yeah,
feeling?
yeah.
Why is there
That's
a
true.
purpose or God or something? You know?
That's true. That's true. Because the modern society just from the very beginning negates the religion out of
Yeah.
question. You know.
Adam, thank you so much for giving us these insights into Czech Muslims.
No problem. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, and we'll be in touch. And if people want to connect with you, do you have like social media or something?
Yeah, sure. I'm on Facebook under Adam Schlerka.
I'll have a link.
We will have a link, so yeah, because my surname is kind of hard to pronounce and write, so you better if you have like link or something. So that's definitely where people can hit me up. I think it's like best way.
So Adam is your real name. It's not Muslim.
It's my real name.
Real name.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you. And guys, go and check Adam on Facebook and give us a like or something and leave us a comment. What did you think? Cool. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys. Salam.
Alaikum salam.